Max Scherzer officially signs back with the Blue Jays. That means the Giants are probably set for their starting rotation. How we feeling about it? Let's break it down right here on Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, y'all? I'm Alan Stiles. Welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, thanks to you, the #1 sports podcast network. On the show, we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that combines passion, analytics with the eye test, and a little bit of fun. I'm from the Bay, but I live in Sacramento now, and I host a show on Sackdown Sports 1140, as well as emceeing River Cats games. All in all, I'm lucky enough to cover a team I've been a fan of all my life. Today, we are discussing the Giants taking on Team USA, a really cool opportunity for those guys. Max Scherzer officially gone, headed back to Toronto. Nate Furman, a profile on the spunky second baseman who is hitting some home runs for the Giants, and the Giants' offensive improvements, where they need to be better. And I've laid out which improvements are the most important for them heading into the 2026 season. Today's episode is brought to you by MLB The Show. Visit MLBTheShow.com/lockedon and use code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch, rated E for everyone. Okay, so before we get in to Max Scherzer being gone, it's official. That came out yesterday, I believe, even though it was announced a couple days ago. Before we get into Max Scherzer and who is still left on that free agent list, this might be our last go-round at who is left on the free agent list. I thought it was a cool opportunity for the Giants because there's a lot going on right now. They're taking on Team USA. And, you know, there are some opportunities for guys that they wouldn't normally have. So Alex Pavlovich says the Giants are loaning prospects to Team USA so they can have some extra arms and some extra runners. So you have guys like RJ Dabovich, Charlie McDaniel. You have Zach Morgan, Gavin Keelan, Dakota Jordan, and Scott Bandura, along with some others. They're going to be helping out Team USA. I don't know if they get to wear a jersey, but that would be really cool if they do. The Giants are facing this squad for Team USA. You have Bobby Witt Jr. playing shortstop, leading off. Bryce Harper at first base. We never talked about Bryce Harper. He was on the Pat McAfee show, and he said the reason he didn't sign with the Giants is because Bruce Bochy was out, and I think that's a crazy, crazy story. We'll get back to that at some point. I'm not really sure what to do with that besides just be sad, because I really would have liked Bryce Harper on the team, but that's what he said earlier this week, and it went a bit viral. So you got Bryce Harper. He is batting 2. Aaron Judge batting 3 in right field. Kyle Schwarber DHing. Alex Bregman at third base. Cal Raleigh at catcher. You have Anthony in left field. Byron Buxton in center field. Turang at second base. And Paul Skeens on the bump. I believe that's at 12 o'clock or around there. So you can follow along. Not sure if that's being televised, but a really cool opportunity for the Giants. This is who the Giants are putting out there to face Team USA. Willie Adames at shortstop, leading off. Matt Chapman at third base. You got Bailey catching, of course, Barracoto, DHing, Brennan in left field, Grant McCray in right field, Christian Costas second base, Bryce Eldridge at first base, Jared Oliva at center field, and you got Adrian Hauser as the right-handed pitcher. Should be interesting for Adrian Hauser. I know I said this yesterday, but yeah, Grant McCray really spending some more time in right field. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, though, because, you know, maybe that's where the Giants see him getting more opportunities. I know Jung-Hoo Lee will obviously be out there, but on off days, things like that, I don't know. Maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe they like Jared Oliva more, because we do know that somebody like Harrison Bader historically hasn't played a full season in a while. So there's going to be some opportunities in center field. That could be Jung-Hoo Lee still. But yeah, a bit surprising that Grant McCray is not out there in center. I feel like I haven't really seen him in center. He's been in right more. So those are the two lineups and how they're matching up. That is at 12 o'clock. It might be televised somewhere. I can't keep up. And it doesn't seem like Major League Baseball wants us to keep up with these things. So, you know, I'm just going to probably see how things turn out. And I'm sure all the highlights will be on social media. So wanted to make you aware of that if you are available around 12 o'clock. I'm sure you can follow on the flagship in a couple different ways. So had that for you. Also, we can say goodbye and so long to Max Scherzer. Obviously, the report came out last week that he was going back and forth with the Toronto Blue Jays about returning. There were some question marks about whether or not he was going to get a starting spot, whether he was going to be a spot starter, and the monetary amount, how much money he was going to make. Seems like they got it all figured out. This is from Anthony Franco of MLB TR. The Blue Jays officially announced they've signed Max Scherzer to a one-year contract. The Boris Corporation client is reportedly guaranteed $3 million and can earn up to $10 million in incentives. So doesn't necessarily sound like he got the same deal that Justin Verlander got. But again, Justin Verlander threw a ton more innings last season, and he can still get there. I'm assuming a lot of this is based on, innings and things like that. He'd earn his first million bonus at 65 innings and reach another million bonus for every 10th inning up through 155 frames overall. Toronto cleared a 40-man roster by waiving Ben Cowles, an infielder. It's the future Hall of Famer's second season in Toronto. The three-time Cy Young winner signed a $15.5 million deal with the Jays in 2024-2025. He was coming off an abbreviated season in which he'd been limited to 9 starts for the Rangers. Scherzer had undergone back surgery for the previous offseason, and a nerve issue in his throwing arm limited him once recovered from the back procedure. The arm remained problematic. Scherzer was able to avoid the injured list after, obviously, that point in late June. Didn't perform to his usual level. He allowed more than 5 runs per inning. The 17-year veteran is still capable of missing bats at an average league level. He struck out slightly above average 23% of batters faced and a tidy 6.4% walk rate. So great stuff. Thank you from MLBTR. And I think the real story here, as far as the Giants are concerned, is that they will not have Max Scherzer on the squad. The connection to Tony Vitello wasn't enough for his connection with Toronto, and we don't necessarily know that the Giants were even in that conversation. That was just something people had kicked around with Adrian Hauser and Tyler Mahle, whether it's, something that happens injury-wise or just them not having it the way they had it last season. Maybe Max Scherzer could fit in there, but it does seem like he wanted a more surefire spot in the lineup and, an incentive-laden deal, maybe something that he was only willing to give a team like the Blue Jays. So good for Max Scherzer. We'll see how that works out for the Blue Jays. They have almost too many arms at this point, but, it must be nice. It must be nice. As we look at the Giants lineup, we'll see again how Adrian Hauser does against a team like Team USA. I'm sure he's not going to throw more than 2 innings or something like that. But it's still worrisome. It'll be worrisome until it's not, and until these guys prove that they can duplicate what they did last season as far as Mahle and Adrian Hauser. There are going to be other guys that show up. Carson Wisenhunt, by the way, I know a couple weeks ago we were talking about that jump that he had in velo. It has not translated to missing bats. He has given up a decent amount of runs. He has kind of struggled in his first 2 starts for the Giants. We don't like to see that. We don't like to see that. So as these guys, and Blake Tidwell in his first start, he didn't look outstanding. So, there's going to be some bumps and bruises. Nobody said it was going to be easy. When you have young talent, when you have young pitchers, they're not just going to go out there and mow down guys, like their Max Scherzers of the world in their prime. That's just not what the situation is. But we don't necessarily need them to be that. We just need them to be serviceable. And I saw some line from Kai Wei Tang. I can't remember where he is now, but some line from Kai Wei Tang. He had a good outing. And look, we don't have to, do the back and forth. I know we're always going to pay attention to certain guys, especially if they were wearing the black and orange. But you have a decent amount of guys. If they can, and I saw somebody say, isn't it kind of worrisome the Giants haven't developed an arm outside of Logan Webb, for the last 7 years, whatever it is. And I was thinking Kyle Harrison, he was a starter. I don't know where that line of develop is, but there's not a ton of names that you would throw out there. So they got to find a way to figure this thing out, because it's really important that the Giants find some arms, especially if they're not going to spend money. It's very important that the Giants find some arms that they can depend on after they get past their 3rd starter. And even Landon Roop, we all like Landon Roop, but he's not some 7-year vet that we can depend on or know that he's going to be this shutdown guy. We hope he takes a leap, but we don't necessarily know that. So we'll see what happens there. On the other side, let's get to this Nate Furman profile. Very fascinating story from him. He does some things that we haven't seen, and he can get thrown into the mix. The Giants have a lot of 23 to 25-year-olds that are right there if they can just put some things together. But I saw him hit a home run yesterday, so I decided let's get on into him because I haven't really made myself as familiar with the sparky second baseman. More Locked On Giants coming up. Today, I'm thrilled to be talking about our sponsor, MLB The Show 26. The greatest game in baseball is back with its newest installment. Baseball fans are going to have a hard time pulling themselves away from the game. For me, I love the ability to play with specific guys on your team and create whatever world you want to within that. I love playing franchise mode with the Giants, of course. And you know me, you can get into some college baseball now on MLB The Show. So just tell me where to sign because I'll do it right now. I'll play right now as soon as the show is over. If you're a gamer, a baseball fan, or just want to enjoy America's favorite pastime in a new, exciting way, you are going to love MLB The Show 26. Play as your favorite team and franchise players and see if you have what it takes to win your own World Series. Visit MLB The Show/Locked On and use code Locked On to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order now, available March 17th, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth, and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's a relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Giants with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to LockedOnSFGiants@supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. If you're a true diehard Giants fan, the Everydayer All Access tier is built for you. You'll get one-on-one text access with me, all access episodes, an exclusive newsletter, and a 15% discount to the Locked On merch store. Head to LockedOnSFGiants@supercast.com to join the Everydayer Club and unlock all access. You can also find the link in the show notes. Next segment with you, and what we have is a profile on Nate Furman. Now, it was a bit confusing, and I'm still trying to track this down. It said Jesus Rodriguez was going to play second base. Then I saw Nate Furman hit a home run, and it didn't look like he subbed in for Jesus Rodriguez. I checked all the different beat writers, their accounts. Nobody really said anything about it, so I'm not sure what happened there, but it looks like Nate Furman played yesterday, and he played well. He hit a home run, and that led me to question who this guy is. Whenever I see an undersized dude doing his thing in the league, you know I'm going to go out and see just who exactly he is. So who is Nate Furman? Well, Yahoo Sports, in conjunction with SB Nation, lists Nate Furman number 39 on the community prospect list. Spring training is here. San Francisco Giants players are in action. Excitement, and more importantly, baseball is in the air. This is from Brady Klopfer, and still our Willie McCovey Memorial Community Prospect List marches on as we grow oh so close to finishing our communal ranks of the top 44 prospects in the Giants organization. Only one more name and we'll have the top 40. Despite there being 7 names on the ballot, the last chapter wasn't all that close. Earning the title of number 39 in the system is someone new to the list, second baseman Nate Furman. Giants fans haven't gotten to watch much Furman as he's only played 36 games for the organization. The left-handed hitter, who will turn 25 over the summer, came over for the Giants in 2024 in a deal that sent Alex Cobb to the Guardians. He was the player that was to be named later. Jacob Bresnahan was the headlining piece in that deal. The short infielder who was selected by Cleveland in the 4th round of the 2022 draft was injured at the time of the trade, but didn't debut with the Giants until 2025. Unfortunately, his 2025 was shortened due to injuries as well. He was injured when the year began and didn't get on the field until late July, nearly a year after the trade had taken place. But once he got on the field, he wasted no time showing why the Giants love him. He played 1 rehab game in the Complex League and drew 2 walks. He spent 5 games with the low A San Jose Giants and hit 5 for 12 with 2 extra base hits and 3 walks. Spent the bulk of his time in high A Eugene Emeralds, getting back up to speed at a level he had conquered in 2024 in Cleveland's system. He conquered it for the Giants as well. In 21 games, he slashed .364, .490, .649. With a 1.139 OPS, it was abundantly clear he was way too good for that level. Furman concluded the year with a brief stint with the AA Richmond Flying Squirrels, though it wasn't his first attempt at the level. He played 13 AA games in 2024 before injury. In 9 games, Furman didn't slow down at all. He slashed .387, .486, .484 with the .970 OPS. Those numbers are absolutely dandy, but the real reason for optimism probably comes from somewhere else. The Giants choosing to send Furman to camp as a non-roster invite, that certainly speaks highly to how they view his skills, considering his lack of playing time in the upper minors and the fact that players with more experience like Diego Velasquez were passed over. In many ways, Furman mirrors the player he'll be backing up in Scottsdale, Luis Arias. He has arguably the best bat-to-ball skills in the entire farm, but struggles to use those skills for power, and his defense is quite suspect. But we know the Giants love contact skills, and across the 4 levels last year, Furman hit .369 with just an 11.7% strikeout rate. All right, I think we basically got the idea here. Thank you to Brady for that breakdown. And I look at his numbers, and I love them. I think the main problem is you have to stay healthy. One thing that Brady also did not mention was his ability to steal bases. In 2023, he stole 37 bags, and in 2024, he stole 10 bags. In 2022, he stole 21. In 2021, he stole 25. The thing is, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. And it's really interesting when you look at guys and their body types. It's almost as if you're too small, there's a worry, but also if you are too big, there is a worry as well. And I think you have a guy in Nate Furman who would obviously be on the side of a smaller guy, and maybe that is some of the issues that are happening here. I don't know that for a fact, but if you can't stay healthy, this is a problem, because clearly the Giants really like him. If he got the call over somebody like Velasquez, think of it just like anything else. If you had a junior, right, or let's call it a sophomore who is in line to get pulled up to the playoffs or to varsity for the playoffs, but then the team decides to grab a freshman instead, that would say, man, they really like what this freshman is doing. Not that they dislike the sophomore, but they really like what the freshman is doing. So it's pretty clear that is what the Giants feel about Nate Furman if he can stay on the field. That's just really where he's at right now. And he has, some things that you do like. Obviously, he's never going to hit a ton of home runs. He's never hit more than 10 in his career. He's only hit 14 total, but he's more of a scrappy guy that has those bat to ball skills, and they're really trying to lean on things like that. But he's got to stay on the field. He's a name that we'll keep an eye on. Maybe he'll pop up on a prospect list now, depending on how he does in the summer. He did get into one yesterday, so maybe he's starting to figure out some launch angle things and not change his approach too much, but just figuring out when it's time for him to really get after it and to be aggressive with his swinging without giving up his bat to ball skills. So we'll keep an eye on Nate Furman. We should be seeing a good bit of him the next couple of weeks with Luis Arias in the World Baseball Classic. On the other side, we got real nerdy, okay, with some Giants offensive improvements, and I'm basing all that based on other projections and other stat lines that teams had last season who got into the playoffs. Where do the Giants need to improve the most? More Locked On Giants coming up. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential with wins with the college basketball Parlay Profit Boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want. Rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits my read. You can mix spreads, totals, and player props to match how you see the slate playing out. Then you can apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. MLB opening day is almost here, and you can feel it. Fresh starts, big expectations, and that first crack of the bat. Whether it's a breakout rookie or a division race that goes down to the wire, there's nothing like being in the ballpark for it. The only problem, getting tickets can feel like a grind. Long queues, surprise fees, prices jumping out checkout. That's where there's Game Time. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experience in just a few taps. It's simple to use. The Game Time guarantee means you get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. And here's the best part. Fees are included in the price you see. What you see is the price you pay. Period. The seat views feature is huge. You can see the panoramic view from your exact seat before you buy. Zone deals let you pick the section and save even more while Game Time selects a seat. You can follow your favorite team and get alerts when new deals drop. 2 taps and it's done. No stress, no hidden fees, just great seats in minutes. That's what makes it so easy to decide last minute to hit a game. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last segment with you, and we decided to nerd out on some stat lines that other teams had in 2025 who made the playoffs and where the Giants need to improve. And what made me want to do this is the fact that the Giants offense is going to be really good. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how elite this offense could be, but where do they need to be elite and where do they need to be better? We all know they're last in or second to last for the 5th year in a row, whatever it is, in stolen bases. But how much does that matter? So I found a couple different stats from home runs, hits, stolen bases, walks, doubles, and batting average. And I pulled how many of those that were in the top 10 in those categories made the playoffs. All right. So let's start here with batting average. 7 out of the top 10 in batting average made the playoffs. 7 out of the top 10 teams in batting average made the playoffs. That's pretty good. That's 70%. Okay. And the only team that was worse, the Giants were 25th in batting average. The only team that was worse than the Giants in batting average and made the playoffs, the Cleveland Guardians were second to last in batting average and made the playoffs. That is ridiculously impressive. I would not subscribe to that. That is some really impressive stuff in kind of a weird way. They hit 226 on the season and they made the postseason. So there's that. The next stat line I have for you, home runs. Okay, 6 out of the 10 teams that were top 10 in home runs made the postseason. Where did the Giants fall in home runs? The Giants were 19th. So, could have been worse, but obviously could be better. You have 6 out of the top 10 teams in home runs make the playoffs. Next on the list, hits. Okay, 5 out of the top 10 in hits made the playoffs. Where did the Giants fall for hits? The Giants, they were 26th in hits. That's not good. Okay, Luis Arias should help that. It should be much better this season. But yeah, you had 5 out of 10. So 50%. You give yourself a 50% chance if you are top 10 in hits. Next on the list, we have stolen bases. This is one where we know the Giants are at the bottom of the barrel. 5 out of 10. 5 out of the top 10 teams in stolen bases made the playoffs. So again, 50%. That's not to say that the Giants have to have a team full of, Carl Crawfords and guys like that. But, it does help in those moments to get those guys into scoring position and see what you can do there. I don't know, speed-wise, where you would put them. But you have the Tigers who were dead last, all right? This one is interesting because we keep on harping on the Giants, but you have the Tigers who were dead last. The Giants were second to last. The Blue Jays were third to last. The A's were fourth. And then you get the Braves, the Astros, teams like that. Here's the thing. The Dodgers, they were 21st. But the difference is you can't be at the bottom here and also not be at the top in other categories. The Dodgers are at the top of other categories. The Blue Jays were at the top of other categories. The Tigers as well. The Giants aren't at the top of any of the categories besides one. I think they were, which one? And I think it was walks, okay? But besides that, you don't have to be great at base stealing if you're great at other things. That's why the Giants are thinking about base stealing, because they're probably not going to be top 10 in home runs. They're probably not going to be top 10 in some of these other categories. So they have to be a bit better in other categories like stealing bases. Next on the list, again, 5 out of 10. The top 10 in walks. The Giants were 6th. Okay, so they were one of the teams that were in the top 10 but did not make the playoffs. All right. And last but not least, doubles. Now, we know that Oracle Park keeps a lot of balls in, but you can still hit doubles. You know, ask Rafi Devers. He can still hit a ton of doubles. So 5 out of the top 10 in doubles made the playoffs. Where did the Giants fall on that list as far as doubles? The Giants, they were 28th. The Giants were 28th. They were 3rd to last in doubles. Now, again, 2nd to last in doubles, the Mariners, right? The Mariners had a great playoff run. They did other things well. The Guardians were 24th. They did other things well. The Tigers, I don't really know how the Tigers made the playoffs. They're at the bottom of all these different categories, but the Tigers, you know, they were 23rd. They made the playoffs. So you just have to find something that you do really well or do everything better than how the Giants have been doing it. So hopefully they can figure that out. The Yankees, they were 14th, but that's because in that ballpark, stuff just flies out anyway. So they, you know, they don't have to hit doubles. And on the flip side of it, you do need things to kind of come together, because a team that was all over this list in the top 10 was the New York Mets, and they did not make the playoffs, right? And they let a team like the Cincinnati Reds get in there. So that was an awful season for them. So not only do the Giants need to be better, obviously they have to turn some things around and they have to put it all together, because that's what a team like the Mets weren't able to do. Whereas you have somebody like the Tigers, seems like they didn't put anything together, but they made the playoffs because they were able to string enough stats together and just be gamers and win ball games. So I thought that was pretty interesting that the home run category only had, 6. So it's not as if, teams in any of these top categories, anybody had 8 out of 10 teams made the playoffs, or 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. The best we saw was 7, at least out of the categories I chose. So that just goes to show you just have to be better in other ways. We don't need the Giants to completely 180 in really any of these categories. They just have to be a little bit better, or I should say they have to be better, right? But they don't have to be super elite in every category. It's not a daunting task. These last couple of seasons haven't been able to string anything together, and that's been an issue. What was it in the 2021 season with all those wins, 107 wins? They had the most pinch hit home runs. That's not stuff that you can depend on, right? So we'll see what happens. And like I said, tomorrow we'll talk more about the lineup as well. Let's see if the Giants can beat Team USA. Oh my goodness, if the Giants beat Team USA today, it's going to be a lovely, lovely Wednesday, because y'all not going to be able to tell me nothing. Absolutely not. If the Giants are able to beat Team USA and Adrian Hauser just shuts them down. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but I'm really excited to see him against literally the best hitters in the universe. So we'll see what happens there. Thank you for watching Locked On Giants. Thank you for listening to Locked On Giants. Be sure to follow me on social media at @the_Styles Files, Styles with an I. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Giants ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to LockedOnSFGiants.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 national Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB. We will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, peace.